Put a little love in your heart. Put a little love in your heart. Thank you guys. Here we go. Here we go.
Hello, welcome to Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Alyssa. This is Mitch. We're musicians today. We're so grateful to see you here. If you could stand for the opening song. Thanks for coming.
I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my peace over the mountains. I send my peace over the sea. I send my peace into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my joy over the mountain. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my power over the mountain. I send my power over the sea. I send my power into the heavens, and it returns to me. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heavens, yeah, and it returns to me, and it returns to me.
Thank you. Our guest artists this morning, Alyssa Nehram and Mitchell Miller, are back. So glad to have you. And earlier we had the Inspire Choir with Julie Wright and Tasia. What's your last? Treasure. Yeah. Treasure. So, thank you. So welcome, everybody, to Center for Spiritual Living in partnership with Unity of Medford. I'm Kimberly Hawkins. I'm Spiritual Director here. As always, it's my pleasure. And I know to welcome you, and I know there are several people visiting here. We are a radically inclusive, spiritually progressive faith community, teaching tools to transform personal lives and help make a world that works for everyone. It's a tall order. If you're here for the very first time, we'd love for you to raise your hand just so we can give you a little love. Anybody? Yeah, quite a few of you. Welcome, welcome. I know some of you are visiting from out of state, which is sweet because a lot of our people are out of state visiting elsewhere this morning. If you'd like a welcome packet, please raise your hand. I know some of you are already members of Center for Spiritual Living or Unity. I want to welcome two special guests this morning in my life. Many of you met them at my ordination several years ago. My sister, Kristen Hawkins, who in official circles went by Reverend Dr. Kristen Hawkins. Can you raise your hand, please, Kristen? And her wife, Deborah Scanlon. So glad to have them here today. Let's see, if you haven't already done so, please turn your cell phones off or put them in airplane mode. And for those of you who haven't been here before, there are restrooms. If you go to the back of the sanctuary and walk all the way to the end, there's a restroom on the left, and then if you turn left, there's another restroom. So those are our logistics. I think that's it. Let me introduce our cast of characters. Morel Wyeth, where are you? Can you raise your hand? Where are you, Morel? There she is. So Morel did a lovely meditation this morning. She is going to be a practitioner 2 student. And because we had many of our practitioners, almost all of our practitioners happen to be away this weekend, she's doing the meditation and high watch for us. And Nancy Clay, who's up here now, is our practitioner who will be doing our reading and invocation. So it's time now to take our collective deep breath. We're going to turn it over to our musicians to prepare us for opening prayer. And as always, please hold your applause after this particular song so we can stay in that silent place for prayer.
Enter the love, let enter the peace, let enter the joy into your heart, let enter the love, let enter the peace, let enter the joy into your heart. Open the door, open the door. 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 Let enter the love, let enter the peace, let enter the joy your heart, let enter the love, let enter the peace, let enter the joy into your heart. Open the door, open the door. Open the door, open the door. Open the door, open the door. Open the door, open the door.
Open the door. We opened the door to come in here this morning. We opened the door to acknowledge each other who are here today. And now as I close my eyes, I'm going through the door into my heart, which is also a place where we meet each other. So blessing this service this morning, knowing that is the one who created everything, who is everything, who runs everything, who receives everything, who gives everything to everything, always. Brings us together this morning in this place so we can connect with each other and know ourselves. Know the truth that sets us free, know the truth that opens our doors. I just breathe in this moment and feel it in my heart. And express my unending gratitude for this place and for you, all of these people who come and share it with me. It just means everything. So with this great heart-felt gratitude, I just release these words to the law of mind that always says yes. And so knowing that it is in the hands of God, we can say together, and so it is. Okay, I have a reading this morning from the Science of Mind magazine. And can you hear me? Do I need to do something different? Okay. These readings are written by Josh Reeve, who's one of the senior ministers at Mile High Church in the Denver area. He came here for Reverend Michelle's ordination, and I met him then. And then I ended up being in Denver a short time after, and I went to Mile High Church, and he was there, and it was just another one of those feeling like home moments that happens in Centers for Spiritual Living. I better hold this. Okay. This reading is entitled, Hold On to Your Practice. Who knows how we should be? We simply do. Who knows how we should be? We simply do our best, over and over and over. Charlotte Joko Beck. If you believe you are locked in a room and believe it is believe it so firmly that you do not even try the doors and windows, the results are exactly the same as though you were, though the actual truth may be that there is no lock and that you are free to go as you please. Ernest Holmes. When everything is falling apart, hold on to your practice. It will see you through. It will reveal to you that the seeming fracture in your relationship with another is only true in one dimension of existence, and there is another dimension in which you are one. In your practice, you can go to this place, surround this other being in light and love, and even if you must for your own well-being, love them from a distance. Your practice will reveal that even when things aren't okay, you are okay. Indeed, things can be perfectly wonderful and terrible at the same time. You are that interesting. Your practice reminds you to pitch a tent in your wholeness rather than in the mess. I know from experience that the best time to remember my wholeness is in the midst of my experience of being broken. Practice is the time when we remember that our life is not ours alone, but belongs to God as well. Practice is the same when we remember that our life is not ours alone, but belongs to God as well. There is a story of a church deacon who at the end of the night would pray, God, this is not my church, it is yours. I will leave it to you. We can do that with our everyday life as well. God, this is not my life. I leave it to you. Today, I release trying to figure out Today, I release trying to figure it all out and simply refuse to participate in the problems. God is my solution. Love is my prescription. Listening is my reward. Say with me, I refuse to be anything other than blessed. And our affirmation is this: God, this is your life. Do with it what you will. I refuse to be anything other than blessed. And so it is.
Rise and shine, a brand new day is here for you. Now's the time to seize those dreams that you want to come true. Yeah, 'cause you've got the power to bloom like a flower. Yeah, you've got the power, and this is the hour to align and shine. Align and shine, align and shine, align and shine. Yeah. Rise and shine. Now's the only time that there is, yeah. The present moment's now, so take the time to forgive, yeah. Why? 'Cause you've got the power to bloom like a flower. Yeah, you've got the power, and this is your hour to align and shine. Align and shine, align and shine, align and shine. Yeah. Align and shine, align and shine, align and shine. Align and shine, align and shine, align and shine. Align and shine, align and shine, align and shine.
And I believe that is an original, yes? Yeah, Align and Shine. Thank you, Alyssa and Mitchell. Wow. And Nancy, thank you for that reading. It was kind of a summary, if you've been here the last 2 weeks, of our first talk that I did this month, which was practicing the presence, and then who's the co-pilot? So thank you so much. So our theme for this month that I chose is simply present in the presence. And as I spoke about earlier, we're always present in the presence. If we think of the presence as God, all there is, divine consciousness, spirit, source, whatever we call it, it's everywhere, it's within us, it's all around us. We can't not be anywhere where God is not. However, consciously, our mind can go all over the place and we can feel separate. So the first week I talked about practicing the presence. I quoted last week Ernest Holmes saying something like, with all the study we do and we teach a lot of classes and we learn a lot of theories and a lot of principles, he says it's really more important, much more important than all that theory is the practice. If we can't put into practice the principles we learn, what good are they? Last week, my talk title was, Who's the co-pilot? Y'all remember those bumper stickers, God is my co-pilot? And thinking about that, cute as the phrase is, thought, not for me. I want God to be my pilot. If there's an infinite intelligence that knows all and can do all things and can find channels to bring about good that I can't even imagine, why would I want to be in charge, right? And it's not like giving your will over to someone else. We have that divine presence, as you guys sang. The power is within us. So this week, I've chosen for my title, The Holiness of Nowness. And, you know, I guess in a way I'm risking telling you things that you've already heard a million times, but I had kind of an inventory this week, a really re-examining this idea. We've all heard The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle's book, Be Here Now, Ram Dass. We've heard plays on the words, you know, the present is a gift, be sure to open it. And we all know that, right? But again, with all our learning and all our book reading, how often do we really practice that? Being in the present, fully conscious, fully here, not worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow, or regurgitating what happened yesterday, or feeling regret, or hoping, and being attached to the future. Our mind does funny things, and Morel so beautifully talked about that this morning in the meditation, where she presented some Vipassana yoga, which is really about, well, there's a lot of talk right now about somatic practices. Have y'all been hearing and reading? Because I think starting with COVID, we were all so darn stressed out. We weren't in our bodies. We were off in our minds somewhere else worrying. And to bring ourselves back into this now moment, this holy now, this instant, this present, and to really feel and breathe and be, that's the only place we can connect with God. We can't do it in the future. We can't do it in the past. We can't do it when we're worrying. We can't do it when we're regretting. We can't do it when we're trying to control things or resisting what is or trying to be attached to what's going to happen, yeah? So these somatic practices, and there are a lot of them on YouTube and on Insight Timer, where we really learn to be in the body, embody the body, and breathe. And sometimes just taking a couple minutes during the day can help so much. I learned that a lot this week. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. So I mentioned earlier this month that research has shown that 50% of the time we are not really paying attention consciously to what we're doing. That's how accidents happen, of course, but we're so good, in quotes, at multitasking, right? And so really, if you think about that, 50% of the time, we're missing our life. We're not here. We're not paying attention. So I think this is a topic worth revisiting. 13th century Persian mystic poet Rumi said, "Past and future veil God from our sight. Burn up both of them with fire." I love Rumi. So even when we focused on the present, as I said, we're often resisting what is. The Buddhists talk a lot about, you know, that this all suffering comes from resisting or being attached to something and wanting something so badly we're obsessed with it. So if we can learn non-resistance and we can learn acceptance and to go with the flow, knowing that even if what's going on at the present moment isn't what we like, we've got that power within us, as you so beautifully reminded us, to pray and shift things. But we need patience and we need trust. So God is found not in places, but in consciousness. I think we all know that. God is, we are inseparable, indivisible. Boy, I'll tell you, I just had a couple minutes, I think it was last night, because I've shared that I'm trying to up my meditation game. And we are so busy at our house. Kristen and Deborah are here because we are putting in new floors, and Ginny is helping us. Actually, Ginny is directing the project. And if you've ever done this while you're living in a house, I shared earlier I had to pack up all my books. I couldn't use my shower until this morning because everything had to be off the floor where she's working. And it's a mess. It's a mess. And yet beauty is being created out of it. So I've really had the opportunity this week to practice not resisting, being in the now, doing some somatic practices. So where I was going a minute ago without that preface was last night I just took a few minutes to breathe, to just breathe, to let go. I can get so focused on, I want to get things settled. I'm still trying to settle my books. Now that I packed up all 20 boxes, I'm putting them back on the shelves and I'm alphabetizing them so I can, by author, so I can find them this time. And it's a big project, and it's not going to get done in one day. And I, being number 1 on the Enneagram and a Virgo, want to be perfect. So I just took a few minutes to sit and breathe. And I realized as I did that simple practice, I don't know how to describe this, but I literally felt the past and the future falling away, and I felt what's been written about as the eternity in the present moment. I felt the presence. I felt relaxed. I felt like all is well. Simple practice of just taking a moment and focusing on the breath. We have so much input now, right? I mean, back in Rumi's day, we didn't have Instagram and Facebook and all of the social media. Just the input is overwhelming sometimes. So I think it's more important than ever to take those little times to just breathe and be. Wherever we stand is holy ground, but we don't always realize that. And I also realized with my sister and Deborah here, and we're all involved in this big task, but they're here for only a week. And I want to be here with them. I don't want to be working. I want to appreciate the moment. And I think that's a gift we can so give to one another. This past week, I know 2 of you were here from Oakland Center for Spiritual Living. There was a memorial, and I'm sorry if you're hearing this for the first time, but dear Firefly Olivia Walter, passed away in May. We used to have her sing as a guest artist here. She was a beautiful soul, still is a beautiful soul, and there was a memorial for her at Oakland Center. And during the memorial, I think it was Reverend Elisha Christopher shared that one of his memories of Firefly was that whenever they were together, and they were good friends, they were part of the Launching Pad, the young adult community that Reverend Linda Rapond headed in Oakland area. He said, whenever I was with her, I felt like there was nowhere else she wanted to be. She was with me. And that is such a gift. And after I heard that, I was reminded the one time I met Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith from Agape in person. Kristen, how many years ago was the Enlightenment? 15 maybe? 20 years ago. Okay, time flies. I was part of the Namaste community, which my sister founded, and Deborah was a big part of in Long Beach, California. And Kristen's musical director and eventually associate minister, Reverend Sonny Cantrell Smith, who is now our community spiritual leader of the entire denomination, she co-wrote a beautiful musical called The Enlightenment. And they performed it at the Carpenter Center in Long Beach to a sellout crowd, 1,100 people, I think. It was so exciting. And I had a seat right up in the front area, and I just happened to be seated next to Michael Beckwith and his then wife, Ricky Byers Beckwith. And I had a few moments of conversation with Michael while we were waiting for the play to start, and I was so struck because this was right after The Secret, and he had been on the Larry King Show. He was a celebrity, more so then even than now. But he was so present. I had that same feeling. He was just so present and focused. He wasn't looking to see who recognized him or whatever. He was with me right here, right now. What a gift. And that's a gift we can give ourselves because we're not missing our life, and we can give the person we're with. And I think I'm going to read you a little short thing. Some of you have heard this. When I teach class, especially foundations class, I like to use this little piece from Quaker teacher Parker Palmer from his book, A Hidden Wholeness, because he speaks to what we teach in our classes. We don't need to fix people. We don't need to advise people. We don't need to share, here's what happened to me, which is a tendency sometimes when people are sharing a difficulty. You want to share your difficulty. But the power of just being present and listening and allowing the person to have their process and figure it out. We're doing this so beautifully in the poetry group on Tuesdays. Yes, those of you who've been here, it's powerful. No cross-talking, just listening. Here's what Parker Palmer said. When you speak to me about your deepest questions, you do not want to be fixed or saved. You want to be seen and heard, to have your truth acknowledged and honored. If your problem is soul deep, your soul alone knows what you need to do about it. And my presumptuous advice will only drive your soul back into the woods. So the best service I can render when you speak to me about such struggle is to hold you faithfully in a space where you can listen to your inner teacher. I love that for how we are to be with each other, and I love it also for how we remember to be with ourselves. When we get quiet, when we listen, solutions are available through that power of that inner voice, that higher self right within us. There was another instance this week. Vivian and I went out to dinner one week while Kristen and Deborah fixed something simple and relaxed after our busy day of flooring. And we went to a new restaurant, and I won't mention it because it's really a good restaurant, but it was really having a difficult time that night. New restaurants, right? Don't know how many staff members, if any of you have ever been a server, I have in college, or worked in a restaurant, they haven't figured out that on a Saturday night or a Friday night, whatever it was, they needed more staff. They had one waiter, and then the owner. And when we walked in, we were about to be seated, and the poor waiter said to the owner right in front of us and this big party behind us, "Don't seat anybody else right now. Everybody's mad at me already." And Vivian, who's run restaurants, was like, "Oh my gosh, you just don't say that, you know?" And so the party behind us immediately left. They just went home. And Viv and I waited and were patient because the food is wonderful. But this poor young man was literally running from the table back to the kitchen, running. And, just like, so upset. And they even have robots that deliver your food to your table, so he didn't have to do that. But it was sad to watch. And Viv and I talked about it because had he been able to just be present and not resist the chaos that was going on, but to be engaging with people and patient, we would have been fine. I think everybody would have had a better time waiting than to watch him be like this. So when we're checking out, he was the one taking our money because he's the only one that knew how to do a credit card. Vivian says to him, "Take a breath, take a breath." And his response was something like, "I'll do that at the end of the night." And the poor guy. The other thing he said, I'll share with you, is at one point, trying to make him feel better, I said, when he was talking to us at the table, taking our order, "I guess she needs to hire some more staff, right?" And he goes, "Yeah, after tonight she's going to have to," I think I said, "She needs to hire one more waiter." And he said, "Yeah, after tonight she's going to have to hire two." I don't think he works there anymore. But all in all, even though we laugh about it, God, there but for the grace of God go I, right? Resisting and trying to just be here with what is and to connect is where peace lives, is where connection is. This title that I came up with, The Holiness of Nowness, I didn't look it up, but I doubt you'll find nowness in the dictionary. The term comes from Joel Goldsmith, this beautiful Christian writer. He said, "This state of nowness is achieved by consciously training ourselves to live only in this minute, by recognizing that we do not live on yesterday's manna." And I love manna because we talked about manna a couple weeks ago, being that substance that came down from the heavens for the Israelites when they were 40 years in the desert before they got to the promised land. And that manna was edible. They made honey cakes out of it. But the thing about the manna was, remember, it didn't last. You couldn't store it up. It disappeared, and you had to wait and trust that the next day you'd get your manna. So that's when our manna, our good, what fills us, can only come in this moment. We got to be open to it. Yeah. It was interesting, the flow, the synchronicity of these terms. So how many of us have that level of trust that what's here today feeds me and our needs will be met the next day? I don't have to worry about it. A Course in Miracles, speaking about this idea of the now, the nowness, calls it the holy instant. And I love that. In the holy instant, according to the Course, is when we let go of the past, we let go of the future, and we come fully here right now in this now moment. The Course in Miracles teaches us all of God's gifts, all of them. The peace, the freedom, all those things we talked about, we sang about, sending, our love over the mountains. All of those things are offered only in the now. It's the ego that keeps us preoccupied in the past or the future, where peace and freedom are impossible. So I'm going to ask you a question, which pertinent to this. The monkey mind, as Morel talked about in the meditation, keeps us scattered. Okay, that must be his phone. Okay. The monkey mind keeps us scattered. I'd like you to share, and Corey, you could have the mic handy, but I don't know that, these will probably be brief and I can repeat them. If you think about it, what keeps you from staying in the present moment? What are the thoughts or worries or preoccupations with the past or the future? What are the kinds of things that get in the way of your being here now in this holy instant? Anybody? Yes, Mary? Worried about our country in the future. I bet you're the only one in this room that has that fear, right? Yes.
Aches and pains.
Jim, aches and pains, physical pains, yes.
To-do list.
Your to-do list, Prudence, yeah. Anybody else? Regret. Kathy? Thinking I have to figure it out. Ooh, scarcity, or the appearance of scarcity, yes. Hard emotions associated with trauma of the past, yeah. And that's when those somatic practices can so help and so heal us. Okay. All right, thank you for sharing that. So I wanted to read a poem as we move to close here that actually I read in 2015. And Tom sent, I love synchronicities. Tom Frederick, our sound engineer, sent this to me. He sent a recording of it to me. I don't know why, Tom, but you sent it to me this week, and I went, oh my gosh, this speaks to my talk. And I'd like to use it as a meditation. Mitchell, would you mind, or either a little bit of music in some way? And I'm going to invite you. This poem is, that would bring us to the present moment. I don't know. Isn't that funny? Maybe it's the battery on the smoke alarm. Yeah. Well, yeah, I think there. Well, I'll tell you what, if that happens, as Morel said, just bring your attention back to the breath. I'm going to encourage you to use this as a meditation. It's a lengthy poem. It's not short. So if you're comfortable, just close your eyes. Take a couple deep breaths. Bring your attention right here to this holy instant. As I read these words from Maya Luna, the poem is called Chop Wood, Carry Water. When you sweep the floors, we've been doing a lot of that lately, gather your daily regrets in the dustpan. Release them into the afternoon sun and let the seeds of sorrow plant new dreams. When you wash the dishes, scrub away the debris of mind. Let each bubble reveal the emptiness of your original face. When you cook food, let your heart pour into every simmer and stir. Let every spice and kernel and grain contain your holy devotion to this brief human life. When you eat, chew your own love. Swallow the arms of the mother. Let them wrap around your belly with infinite compassion. Let every bite be an act of worship. When you bathe, let your hands become healers. Strip the body of its tensions and confusions. Pour the water of suppleness back into your bones. Baptize yourself into holy presence. Let your skin drink the nectar of open delight. Let fingernails scratch open your tired old wounds until your wholeness is revealed beneath the static. When you walk, let each toe pressing into earth be a thank you note to the gift of ground. When you breathe, let each inhale be a love letter to God, and every exhale a blessing to the trees. You are a living prayer and magic in motion. The church of the ordinary is the secret of secrets, for it is in the tiny places that kindness lives, and this kindness is the doorway to God. Let's go into prayer. Doorway to God. The doorway to God really is our heart. And when we open our hearts, what I know, what I remember, and I believe this is the truth for each of us, is we remember that there is a presence of love, of infinite, unconditional love, of perfect peace, of power, of plenty, everywhere present always, all knowing the desires of our heart before we speak them. It is supply beyond our human imagining in its infinity, that infinite invisible that we spoke about last week. It is always right here within and all around us, supplying, guiding, supporting, loving each of us. And so my prayer this week for each of us is that we do keep that door to our heart wide open, that we take the time periodically through the day to breathe, to be, to feel our bodies, to be grateful for the little things, to be fully present when we have an interaction with someone, to be grateful. Let us be here now. Let us recognize the holiness of nowness. Let us be present in the presence. What peace, what love, what joy exist in the simplest of things. And I speak a prayer for our country this morning, for a healing of the divisiveness, for a realization, a re-realization that we are indeed the United States of America, and that we can disagree without dissing. We can have a different vote, a different belief, and still honor and respect the holiness of each one of God's creations. I speak my word for anyone who is in a war-torn country, anyone suffering from illness. I speak my word for anyone here who is having a challenge, whether it be of health, of relationships, of finances. Knowing that God is right where we are, and when we breathe and feel, we know, we connect, we receive, we relax, we feel that peace, we feel that connection. And so in gratitude for our time together, for each one here and each one listening online, I release this word knowing it is heard. And I invite us to say together, so it is. Amen, my friends.
was a girl each week. On Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything, everything, everything's a miracle. Everything, everything, everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, I barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath, 'cause I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I'm walking in a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face and say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come and say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood and saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when the church lit out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. Everything, everything, 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 everything is holy now.
Thank you. I asked them to learn that song, and boy, did they, huh? Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Time now for our tithes and offerings. So I'm going to ask our ushers, Patricia and Will, to come on forward. And, just remember that giving and receiving are the same thing. I am so grateful in this community that we are in the black and that people are giving online as well as in person. If you give online, please bless the basket. Feel free to bless the basket as it goes by. Let's say our affirmation together. Graciously I give from a place of love, knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive. So it is. I just want to give another round of applause to you, too. You are awesome. And I hope I don't embarrass you by saying this, but our music director, Anton Miserak, said to me, they're so beautiful, and it doesn't hurt that they're very much in love. It shows. So I think we have a few minutes. I have recently started the practice of allowing or inviting, if anybody wants to share, is there anything that has moved you today that you want to remember or a takeaway or something that you want to change in your life? If so, raise your hand and Corey will come around with the mic. Anybody have something a light that went on today? Maybe not. Jordan, come on. Okay, wait a minute, if you would, Corey. This way the people online can hear you.
Thank you again to the wonderful musicians. We see that you're in love. Thank you for the reminder that we spend way too much of our time unconscious, the 50% idea.
Anyone else? So there's somebody, Rick in the back, and then Kelly. Yeah. Whoops. Thanks, Kelly.
Jumping on to what Jordan just said, yesterday I had that thought that way back when we didn't have email, we called each other and there was a personal connection. And now we can go jump on our computer every hour if we want to go, oh, what's going on in the world? And that distraction takes us away from being present in the moment. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I encourage people to be in the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. Rick in the back. Yeah.
No, going along with that, is two things can occupy the same space. So if you quietly rest in expectation and create that space, the light will fill it.
Thank you, Rick. You got one more over here on the right. Morel.
I just want to thank you for the music. OMG. Wow, wow, wow.
Maybe we can get them back soon, huh? Okay, all right, one more, Patricia, and then we're going to have a few announcements. Go ahead.
Your music, children, was so beautiful that we were distracted from getting baskets to the collection. We were so into that. It was so beautiful. Thank you.
That's a good distraction, huh, Patricia? All right, we do have a few announcements. Let's see. Drumming circle today with Will after service. There are drums here. Please join him. It's a great time. Let's see. Poetry is Spiritual Practice is my group meeting again on Tuesday from 10 to 11:30. Bring your journal. Tai Chi follows that at 11:30. And Miracle Makers, I believe, meets this week at 10:30 here as well. Smart reading. Kathy, you had an announcement, I think a quick announcement about smart reading. There was a little confusion. This is the program where our volunteers go into the schools and read to children who are still behind because of COVID.
There's plenty of time. It doesn't start till October. We're just getting an early jump on it. And the sign-up sheet is not just for Ashland, it's for anywhere. It's even beyond the state of Oregon. So put your name down there and your email and your phone number, and I'll get you started on the process. We're just getting an early jump on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. So they can read in the school district that's near them?
Yes. Okay,
awesome. All right, let's see what else. My class, The Mystical Path, starts on September 18th. I have had an overwhelming preference from those who have signed up for an afternoon class. So let's do it from 2 to 4:30 on Wednesday, starting September 18th. There's a sign-up sheet in the social hall, and there's an early bird special tuition, a discounted tuition available if you sign up with a $50 deposit by September 4th. I'm really excited to teach that class. Kelly?
Can you give more detail about what the class will entail?
Sure. It's a brand new class, so I haven't taught it before, but it uses a book by Wayne Teasdale called The Mystic Heart. And as you all know, mysticism is when we have the Christ mind. It's when we have that consciousness of absolute oneness and a direct experience of the divine. So the mystical path is learning to do that, learning to be here now with God aligned. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of experientials. I haven't even looked at the whole curriculum. Because I want to be a mystic, and I practice trying to be a mystic, I'm really excited to teach it. Yes, Matt?
Can you give us an update on the Reverend Laura's meeting?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Reverend Laura Stewart passed her panels this week. Yes. Woo! She is Reverend Laura Stewart, and she and Greg, her husband, are off celebrating at the coast and taking a really sweet time together. As Deborah knows, when Kristen was in ministerial school, there's a lot of a sacrifice that goes on, right? So yeah, thank you so much for reminding me, you know. It takes a village to remember everything that needs to be remembered here. Let's see, what else do I want to say? A concert coming up the first Sunday in September. Are you going to be here with us for that? No? Oh, we're going to be there the 22nd. Oh, you're coming back the 22nd to be our guest musicians? Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So the 22nd, don't miss it. They'll be here again. Anton and Laura are doing a concert after our service the first Sunday in September. The second Sunday in September, September 8th, is the Potato Bar fundraising for our youth camp. And then a prospective new members class is happening after service on September 29. I think I've hit all the announcements. So I'm going to invite our practitioners and ministers in the room to come on forward. We're a small but mighty crew, so if you want prayer after service, please don't leave here with a heavy heart. They'd be happy to pray with you. Before we turn it over to Alyssa and Mitchell for our closing song, I'm going to use a benediction I've used occasionally. You will recognize it, but it actually comes from my sister Kristen's church at Namaste. So say after me, if you will. I give thanks for this thing called life.
I give thanks for this thing called life.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my affairs.
Life is in my affairs.
I accept it.
I accept it.
I claim it.
I claim it.
And I share it. Just the way it appears, and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. And Kristen, after in Namaste, what somebody would always yell out would be, yeehaw! I shouldn't have told him that. Now we'll probably do that here. Take it away, Alyssa. Oh, and please join us afterwards for soup and coffee and fellowship. Thank you to Michael Sunday and Sal for our fellowship time. Yeah.
Yeah, join us for the peace song. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment with peace.